Hello and welcome back. So if you had added your Google map on the previous video, you can now delete it because we really don't need it. Wait a minute. I must make sure the div ending is deleted. Okay, there we go. And delete that one as well. Okay, so back to normal. There we go. So let's continue with our blog situation here. So what I want though, we do have this metadata here for name. We are going to add that eventually. But I think also for the rating system here, I think I'll create a separate tutorial for that because it might add a lot of unnecessary videos to this particular series. So we can ignore it for now. And what I want is to be able to click on the image or to click on read more to actually go to a full page version of this thing here. So what I want to do though is to get the HTML version so that I can see how it actually looks like. So I want to see the HTML version here. So go to where you have the pure HTML version and let's see single blog here, blog single. And this is how the single blog looks like in HTML. Now we can add replies here, but this too is going to add too many videos to the series, which already has too much. But what you can do if you really want to be adding these comments here is just copy exactly the logic that we have for contact here. The logic that we have for contact, it's exactly the same thing. So you create a new table, but for comments, and then the same way we have messages and this form here is exactly the same way you can do it on this one. The only difference is instead of displaying those images like we did in the admin section, you're going to display them here. Now, of course, because people who are going to be commenting on your site will not have profile images here. So all you have to do is add a default looking image there. And yeah, the rest remains the same. I don't even know why. Okay, there's website, there's email address. So maybe these do make sense, but no, not really. Because, oh, actually, this is the info for the author here. This part right there. Okay, I see. That's why there's Facebook and all that. And then the responses start from here. So the rest of the responses, you can do exactly what we did on the other side. Put the time, put the date, and then you can put the name and just put the content there. Just remove the reply because it might complicate things. Or if you're up to the task, no problem. A reply can be added by simply adding in the same way you add a comment, you can add a reply exactly the same way, only that you add a column named parent, and then you use the ID for whatever comment they're replying on as the parent. That way you can load it under the parent comment like that, but it's also a comment just like this one. So if you need that, you can check out my social website series. It deals with adding comments like this on posts. So you can learn one or two things there. All right, apart from that, let's see how we can create this. Now, most of this looks quite similar to this. Where is that? Single blog here. The only difference is we don't see the entire text here. So if I come back to the actual post that we have, the only thing here is that my descriptions are quite short. I didn't type too much data. So let's try and use Lorem Ipsum here. There's a website called Lorem Ipsum. What happened to it? Okay, there we go. Lorem Ipsum. Right, so let's go here and get some dummy text so we can create a post that has a lot of text. That way we can see what to do. So let's log in meanwhile. I want to log in here. password. And I want to go to my admin section so I can add a new post here. So back to admin. Taking a while to load, and this is a localhost. I have no idea. Oh, because it's loading some fonts from the internet, because my internet is on. This is why I keep my internet off when doing these things. Add new post. There we go. So a post title is a long post test, and let's browse for an image. Doesn't really matter, any of these images shall do. And here we want lorem ipsum, which for some reason hasn't loaded yet. This is a really slow internet. It's insane. Okay. Maybe I can click here just to get the text. This should suffice. So I just want some dummy text. Anything will do really. I'll copy there since this is taking forever to load. I'll paste it there and hit post. Okay, so there we go. Now we have quite an amount of text as compared to this. This should give us something to work with. So if I come back to blog here, and this is the latest post, and it has all this text. So it really doesn't look that bad. But back here for a second, let me click edit, and then I want to replicate this data. So I'm going to press enter a couple of times, paste, enter a couple of times, paste, and so on. I just want to flood it with text and hit save. Okay, that's quite a bit. This way we can see what we are doing wrong. So as you can see, there's all this data here going on. And the first thing you notice is that the new line doesn't actually show. So it's all just one bunch piece of text here, which is not pretty. So what we're going to do, first of all, let me go to my blog.php. So right here where we're looping a single blog post. So the first thing we will do is so every time you're echoing data, like for example, okay, the title is actually sanitized when we are loading it. Where is this? There's the image, there's the post. So I'm looking for this particular one here. So since the posted data, even though this is the admin posting, we must assume it is unsafe data. So what I will do is I will use that function called new line. Where is that? New line to break tag, like so. Let's do that, and let's do that. So that's number one. Refresh. Okay, there we go. So now at least you can see the new lines are being respected. It's not just one block of data like that, which is good. And then we want to avoid situations where there is possibly some JavaScript in there and they need to be forced to run. So what we will do is we're going to do HTML special chars like that. So let's enclose that in HTML special chars. Though I don't know which of these two should come first. I think it's the other way around. So we've ruined things. Instead, we've made the break tags into literal strings, which is not good. So all we need to do is just swap these two, move these to the outside like so. It should come last, and that should do. Okay, there we go. So in case there's any code in here, it will not run like JavaScript. And then lastly now, we need to reduce the string because this is the multi-post view. People should not read all the information here. That's why we have the read more button, sorry. And so I just want to know at what point should I cut this off. So what I will say is I'm going to reduce this to a substring. So I'm going to say substring like that, and then there's a start and there's an end. So the string itself is this one right there. So cut that and put it here. And then we'll start at 0 because we want to get everything from 0. But then there's a third parameter, which is where do we end? So maybe I will put 100 characters. Let's try that and see how far we can go. Okay, so that's 100 characters there, not so much. Let's put 200, maybe that will be better. Okay, I think 200 can do. Maybe 300, let's see, without giving away too much. Okay, maybe that should be fine. And you can put a few dots at the end. Oops, those mean something else. Let me put them there, like so. Oops. Okay, there we go. So now you can click read more. So where exactly should the read more button take us? That is the question. So usually this HTML special charts should be added to every piece of text that you actually echo out, except for things like maybe the date, the title especially. You should add that as well. So let me do that. I've accidentally added an S there. Okay, it won't look like anything has changed at all. Oh, and by the way, there's this line here. Maybe I may have added this while I was offline. So if you don't have that border at the bottom, just go to single blog post here, this div, and then add a style here which says border bottom solid thin, and just add those parameters there. Actually, it's too dark, so I want to reduce it to CCC, something like that, and refresh. That looks much better. At least it gives a clear border between the posts there. Okay, so now that we have all that, we need to be able to click and go to a single blog post. So in our case, if I go to my my localhost, yes, localhost, let's come back here. We ought to do the same thing here, because while we are going through the posts, we don't want to read the entire text while we are here. This is inside the admin area, but we'll fix that in a moment. Let me go to my database here, and let's go to the blogs table. Yeah, having internet really sucks while you are doing this, because everything tries to read from the internet for some reason. Okay, so let's go to the blogs table, and there's this right here, URL address. So this is the special identifier of every post. So that's what we're going to use, and not the ID. And the reason we don't use the ID is because the ID means nothing. It doesn't relate to the actual product. However, this URL address has text that actually relates to the product itself. This makes it easier for Google to index these pages in a meaningful way. So let's use the URL address here. So I'm just going to copy that. And let's come to the read more page. Where are you? Read more. Read more is right here, and conveniently already a link, and there's an href right about there. So all I need to do is add PHP equals root, like so, and then put a dot to concatenate, and then paste and close that up. Now instead of post, we're going to add URL address, of course. URL I see some new hinting here by Sublime Text that nearly threw me off for a second there. URL, it should be address. Yeah, there we go. It's supposed to be better at hinting there, so we'll see how that goes as I use it. Okay, so refresh. Now if I hover on this one, I get public. Yeah, so I forgot something here. I should take this to another page called, we need to create a name for this page. So I'm just going to call it single post. Now I'm going to use the underscore here. Now since this is plain text, I need to close this up for a second, and then I'm going to say single underscore post. You don't need to say single post, you can just say post, it's entirely up to you. Then let's add the slash here, and then I can create another, open another PHP thing there. Yeah, so that works out quite okay. And I need to do the same thing, add the same link to my image. So where is my image? My image is right here. So it does have an href here, which is really good. I can just paste the same thing over there. So refresh, and we are golden. So now I can click read more or here, and I'll go to the same place. So click there, let's see what happens. So of course there's no controller, so it says single post in there, but for some reason we are here. Now this single post we are creating here, this is going to be seen by people that are Googling our posts. So I think what we should do is remove the single here and just make it post like that. The shorter the better, and the more meaningful the better it is, because they are looking for a post. So I think just seeing post there should be enough. It's not like we have many pages that have blog posts or anything like that. So this will do just fine. So that's a better URL. It's going to have www.yourwebsite.com and then /post/ a long post test. Great, we are doing good. The only thing now is we need a controller to be able to display what we want to display. So let's do that in the next video.